You must have seen this. If not, please let me know. You get a group of little kids together, you've got some very harried parents trying to manage the kids, and eventually, at least one of the kids knocks something over, breaks something, chips something, spills something, stains something irrevocably, uses something in a way that neither God nor man could have envisaged, or somehow touched or did something that mom and dad said not to do. And then when there's the break, the spill, the disaster, the scream, the exasperated parent cries out, "This is why we can't have nice things." Now, what if the unruly children were you and me? And what if the exasperated parent were the Holy Trinity? Stay with me. I've got a story to tell. Hi, I'm Jesuit Father Robert McTeigue, your host here every day at the Catholic Current, coming to you from the Station of the Cross Catholic Media Network. Let's take a closer look. Glad you're here. That's what kids do. They don't do what they're told. They break things, they stain things, they destroy things. Parents get exasperated. I heard stories of my Irish great grandmother, God rest her soul, when there was a child induced disaster, would cry out, "Oh, dear God, deliver me from children." And I have to wonder, those thoughts ever cross God's mind? Let me give you an example. Here's the Holy Trinity, the divine Godhead, triune community of persons in love, and they have this great idea. Let's make man in our own image. Male and female, he created them. It's going to be great. It'll be like us. They'll love in their own small little way. We'll have a lot of fun. You just wait. It'll be great. And then you tell to the first generation, look, whatever you do, don't touch the apple. Everything will be fine. I'm going to go deal with time and space for a moment. Turn around. Where's that Adam? Adam, why are you hiding? Did you touch the apple? I told you not to touch the apple. You know how hard it's going to be to clean up this mess? A little while later, Cain, where's your brother? Cain, what did you do? And it just didn't stop. Hey, you guys over there, you're not going to build a tower, are you? Don't build that tower. I'm telling you, don't build that. I'm coming down there. See what you made me do? A little bit later, Sodom and Gomorrah. God cries out, they want to do what with the angels? It just never stops. A golden calf? Really? Moses wasn't gone that long. You built a golden calf? What were you thinking? And what do we say? Well, we say what kids always say to parents. What were you thinking? I don't know. Let's bring this into the New Testament. Luke 7. Our Lord is walking around with his disciples. There's the widow of Nain. Terrible thing. This woman lost her son. She lost her only son. She's a widow. She's facing destitution and starvation because she's nobody's responsibility. Anyone who's supposed to care for her was dead. What would happen to her? She would be lost. So our Lord, in very great compassion, intervened in a dramatic way to show his power and his goodness and restored the son, the only son, to this grieving widow. Now, over time, as Christians read the Gospels, we'd say, hey, it really is a shame that some people seem to be just left out. They seem to be nobody's responsibility, or they're going to be our responsibility. We're going to perform the corporal works of mercy. We're going to set up institutions of charity. We're going to have religious communities help the downtrodden and the outcast. It'll be great. And it worked really well. Charity turned out to be a very beautiful thing, caring for body as well as soul. And then some people, we'll just describe them as well-intentioned, said to those doers of Christian charity, you know what the trouble with your charity is? It's voluntary. That'll never work. And it's really inefficient. So what we're going to do is take all that away from you, and we're going to take uh, things that belong to other people and then give them to other people. And we're going to do this under threat of violence. And that'll be much more efficient than your voluntary charity. And you know what? We're going to need some people in charge and they're going to need a staff. So a bureaucracy grew up to manage what the church had been doing freely. And then the bureaucrats started thinking, we kind of like being in charge. We kind of like spending other people's money. We really don't want to run out of people who need help. We don't say the C word, though. We don't say charity. So we're going to take uh, the safety net and we're going to make it an entitlement. And that way, there'll always be need for people like us to distribute other people's goods because who would willingly surrender what they're entitled to? Am I right? And then the bureaucracy began to grow, but not really fast enough. And some of the bureaucrats took the long view and said, you know what we're going to do? The safety net, the social safety net, this entitlement, let's make it a hammock. Let's set up a permanent dependent class who'll be so grateful for the free stuff we get for them by threatening other people with violence that they'll vote us into office forever because nobody gets rid of Santa Claus. Am I right? Meanwhile, Christians got busy doing other things. Some of the things they didn't do so well, like growing communities, growing parishes, growing monasteries. And churches had kind of learned from the world that if you want to do things, efficiently, you need a bureaucracy. But remember, communities were shrinking and charity was out of fashion. And then some Christian bureaucrats got a bright idea. Those bureaucrats over there, look at all that money they got. We want some of that action. And ta-da, Christian communities and Christian works, we become NGOs, non-governmental organization, so we can have access to that sweet, sweet public lettuce. Ka-ching. We're going to get in line so that we too can get into the business, the long-lasting, solid business of redistributing other people's wealth under threats of violence for the sake of efficiency and for the good of our people. So the story goes. Why do I bring this up and why do I relate it to the story of exasperated parents and the Trinity? It's really very simple. Whenever people don't do what God says, bad things happen. You don't even need a prophet to figure that out. Common sense will do it. And if you're not sure, read the scriptures and take a look at human history and then take a look out the window. There's a lot of chaos and a lot of mess because people are running around saying, my will be done, and ignoring what God revealed in the natural order, what he revealed about his wisdom and providence in human flesh, and what he revealed through his Christ and the church that he founded. And sadly, even some very senior members of the Catholic cadre of the People Who Should Really Know Better Club have gotten caught up in the bamboozlery and whirligig of Poverty Incorporated. Not only that, because it's not just poverty, wherever human beings decide they're going to do things their way without reference to Christ, it goes sideways. It's inevitable. When you plug up your ears, when you plug up your mind and heart to the eternal word of the Father, the Christ of God, the Word made flesh, the Logos, what do you think is going to happen? If we ignore the source of all reason, rightness, goodness, truth, beauty, what do you think we're going to make? We're just going to rearrange corpses and bad ideas. I have a suggestion. Let's stop. Let's stop doing that. Let's admit that the saints and the scriptures were always right, that unless and until we are fully converted to Christ, Christ who is our Lord, crucified, risen, reigning, and returning, unless and until we are fully converted to him in body, mind, and heart, the human enterprise, the human project just isn't going to work. And this is where the Catholic cadres of the People Who Should Really Know Better Club need to have a profound examination of conscience. Because I don't think Christ founded his church so that it could be an NGO. I don't think that Christ founded his church so that it could be a sub-jester to the court jesters who are entertaining Caesar in exchange for gold, for bread, and circuses. What we've been doing for decades in the West hasn't been working. And just as a parent gets exasperated, is it really unreasonable? Is it unbiblical? Is it outside of Christian tradition and Catholic teaching to suggest that God will become exasperated with our disobedience and meet us with justice instead? Think on these things today. Take them to prayer and talk about them with those you love. Go in peace, and please do pray for me, for I am a sinner. Hey, we need your support. Please click on the link on the screen or in the description below so that the Station of the Cross can continue to provide you with great Catholic programming like this. Thanks for watching today. I release new videos on Mondays and Wednesdays. Check out the archives for more videos. You can listen to my podcast at stationofthecross.com, and you can find my written work at heraldofthegospel.org. See you next time.